This is the Wheel of Time Spoilers podcast. Your hosts are Seth Jacobson and Patrick Heiler.
So should we start this? Chapter 2 of The Great Hunt, The Welcome, and our symbol is the Flame of Tarvalin.
Which,
is the title of the first chapter.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that the icon of the second chapter is the title of the first chapter.
Yeah.
Which are both literally the Amyrlin Seat.
Right. And this is called The Welcome, so we're welcoming Suwon.
Right.
Let's start this first paragraph here. The halls of Faldera Keep, their smooth stone walls sparsely decorated with elegantly made simple tapestries and painted screens, bustled with news of the Amyrlin Seat's imminent arrival. Servants in black and gold darted about their tasks, running to prepare rooms or carry orders to the kitchens, moaning that they could not have everything ready for so great a personage when they had had no warning. Dark-eyed warriors, their heads shaven except for a topknot bound with a leather cord, did not run, but haste filled their steps, and their faces shone with an excitement normally reserved for battle. Some of the men spoke as Rand hurried past. And we see a bunch of Shi'naran's soldiers calling to Rand, saying basically that the Amyrlin's here, and she must have come for you, like, isn't that great? And Rand's freaking out, sweating the whole time.
Well, and I think the Borderlanders are probably the few people who really do respect the Aes Sedai.
Yeah.
Because they've probably seen some of the Aes Sedai, like we know Moraine has come to the Borderlands and fought on their side. And because she can use the one power wantonly against Shadowspawn, they've probably seen some pretty impressive displays of power.
Sure.
Especially from Moraine. Yeah,
we see the level of respect in a few other places. Caemlyn, because I would hesitate to say any like the rest of Andor.
But even in Caemlyn, there's that whole white versus red armbands.
True.
And the whole point of the argument is that the Aes Sedai are advising the Queen, and they want the Aes Sedai out of the city. So even in Caemlyn, the level of respect is not as high as it is in the Borderlands.
Definitely true.
And I think that's because they see each other as allies in the fight against the Dark One.
Yeah, and they clearly appear to be.
I think the Aes Sedai should be doing more. I think the Green Ajah should be doing regular rotations out to the Borderlands to fight, with the Yellow Ajah out there to heal.
Right? They could just be there blowing stuff up all the time.
Totally.
Practice, if anything.
I mean, it's why the Green Ajah gets just so badly trounced repeatedly, because they're not good at what they do.
They don't do what they do.
Well, yeah.
What they're supposed to do.
It's very true.
Rand dashed through the men's apartments, darted into the room he shared with Matt and Perrin, and froze, his jaw dropping in astonishment. The room was filled with women wearing black and gold, all working purposefully. It was not a big room, and its windows, a pair of tall, narrow arrow slits looking down on one of the inner courtyards, did nothing to make it seem larger. 3 beds on black and white tiled platforms, each with a chest at the foot, 3 plain chairs, a washstand by the door, and a tall, wide wardrobe crowded the room. The 8 women in there seemed like fish in a basket, and I have no idea what that means. I guess that there's a ton of them. But they're all piled on each other.
I mean, sardines in a can.
Yeah.
Yeah, same expression. Just I'm guessing Jordan, when he was writing this, wrote sardines in a can and went, oh, that's anachronistic? When something's out of time and place, like a saying.
Rand's confused about what they're doing and finds out that it's basically the Chatayan tells Rand that his clothes are to be replaced and he has no say in the matter.
Oh, and you brought up the lady Amelisa. So she's the lady of the keep.
Oh, yeah. Lady Amelisa had new clothes made.
Just a quick note. A lot of what happens later when the guards are looking for Rand, when the women are looking for Rand,
yeah,
is at her orders, because she is under compulsion from Liandrin.
Oh.
Just keep that in mind as we move forward.
Gotcha.
Yeah, she's his sister, not his wife. Because I guess Lord Algamar is not married. Does he have a wife? I don't know.
Don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I'm just guessing.
Well, thanks for the real-time follow-up. Appreciate that. Yeah, she's not both his wife and sister. This isn't Game of Thrones. When he's talking about walking into the baths and just like, oh yeah, they just hang out naked there all together.
Yeah.
They don't bother with...
It's like a Roman bathhouse, except I think those were even divided by sex.
He's trying to convey a rougher culture where like some social niceties have sort of fallen away due to just practicality. This is a place where the game of houses isn't going to be played. This is a place where people are going to tell the truth and be straightforward. There's not certain necessity has caused culture to evolve in the way that it has. And I sort of just like the starkness of the culture of the Borderlanders. Do Scandinavians bathe nude together?
I think there's definitely a bathhouse thing. Like into saunas.
Ask in Discord.
Oh.
I love seeing like 4 people typing all at the same time, and I'm like waiting for the responses to come back. Well, don't stop typing, just because I said that. So we have a Norwegian telling us it's fairly common in Scandinavia.
Yeah.
To bathe nude together. By the way, again, how freaking awesome is it that we're popular in Finland and Norway?
Yeah, it's interesting that the books are really popular there.
Where were we with Lady Amyrlin in the baths, right?
Right. Or Rand is thinking about that, but because Rand says that he wants to change, and everybody is just like, yeah, cool, and they just continue going about what they're doing.
It does seem that Andor is like the most prudish country in all of Randland. Like everyone else is totally okay with nudity. The Aiel, the Borderlanders,
The Aiel and the Borderlanders. I guess
the Kyrian on one holiday. I guess other
is
than
that
that,
right?
well, yeah, because they go. Was it the Festival of Feathers or something, where all the women go around wearing nothing but like some feathers?
Oh, I don't even remember that.
That's a Matt chapter, but the rest of the time they're totally serious and like really straight laced. But like this one time, it's like there are no social constructs. Is that Nebu Dar? Am I getting my countries mixed up? It's like the nobles and the common folk mix. Because, like, normally there's really strict rules between the nobles and the common folks. Okay, yeah, that's in Ebudar, the Festival of Birds.
So that's kind of an obscure reference. I sort of remember that this feather thing happened.
Yeah. I remember there's a scene where Matt's trying to get a boat, and he, like, goes up to the boatman, and he's making out with a noblewoman, and he, like, tosses gold at his feet until he, like, stands up and dumps the noblewoman on her butt, and she gets all offended and, like, storms off. I think also, like, they try and talk to Herod Fell.
Uh-huh.
He's, like, dancing with, like, 3 women who are, like, in their 20s, and he's all, like, drunk, and, like, they're all grinding up on him. And Matt's like, oh, I'll leave him alone. He's having a good time. Or, like, I think Min's looking for him or something. I don't remember.
Yeah.
He's, like, too drunk to talk. Oh, the Feast of Lights. Feast of Lights. Yeah, that's in Kyrian. I was totally... Okay, yes, totally in Kyrian. So... The one with birds is in Ebudar. The Feast of Lights is in Kyrian. So they're 2 sort of similar holidays.
Herodfell's in Kyrian,
and
right?
Herodfell's in Kyrian, yeah. I like Rand's attitude in this chapter is really sort of like, I might be dead in an hour. He really thinks, I guess he thinks he's going to be gentled, basically. He thinks that Moraine has...
Right, he's thoroughly freaked out. He's trying to run.
Right. He thinks the Amyrlin Seat is coming to... take him into custody.
Yeah.
I like this a little bit about shoes.
I have that too.
Yeah. Shoes are definitely a common thing, but also just like his attitude towards shoes, that they're great shoes. They're a little cracked here and there and kind of worn, but they're broken in. They're good shoes. It's like how I feel about my shoes. It's like when someone's like, you need a new pair of shoes. I'm like, no, they're comfortable. That's why I'm wearing them.
But if giving up his boots would make the Châtellerault leave him alone so he could go, he would give her the boots and anything else she wanted. He had no time. He pushes him out the door. Robert Jordan goes on his typical, there's like 2 paragraphs describing the clothes that Rand sees that he has to dress himself with, or that he's left to dress himself with.
Which is basically Moraine, again, twitching him on the string, which is make him look like a noble.
Yeah.
He has the bearing. He has the body for it. Dress him like a noble, and everyone will think he's a noble.
Right.
He's the daughter of a queen. Sorry, he's the son of a queen.
Including the cloak with the serpent on it. Which dragon.
I noticed is very similar to the arborist snake, because it's a dragon almost into a circle, but this one has legs, and it's not eating its own tail. But I just wonder if there's some sort of parallel between the Great Serpent Ring and the dragon, especially in this circle.
I don't know. I mean, they're definitely I don't really see a similarity, other than that it's in a circle.
And that it's a serpent. I mean, a serpent in a circle, that's similar enough to me. Anyway, I frequently wonder what
It's the dragon that'll be on his arms later.
Comes from. Like, it's the dragon on his arms, it's the dragon banner, it's the dragon that she creates for him. But, like, where we never see that animal. And so I often wonder if the origin has something to do with, just like we don't ever see the Great Serpent. But I wonder if it's maybe some sort of representation and parallel between, the female serpent and the male serpent.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know anything about it in this series, but in Chinese myth, this same dragon, the exact same dragon, exists, and it like has to do with a representation of balance and like destruction and
Sure.
Male-female destruction and rebirth and all that.
I mean, good luck, right?
Yeah.
Being Taviran, basically. And then I like this sort of like dirty old maid trying to peek in on Rand.
I kind of saw that as they're just messing with him.
Oh, totally. They're doing it to make him
because they
blush.
know it bothers him.
Right.
There's not that much to catch on here. Just a lot about the clothes, but we're kind of
there's a lot of clothes.
Way out of the groove.
And again, not much other than that he grabs Tom's cloak with the flute and the harp.
Yeah. Like, Rand has the thought, leave the sword arm free, he thought, make them think I'm dangerous. Maybe somebody will.
Well, and then at some point, he has to do that automatically. I think it's funny that at this point he still has to think about it.
Sure.
But at some point, like, leaving his sword arm free is just so completely unthinkable for him that he would ever, like, put his cloak over his sword arm.
Well, pretty soon he won't really need the sword.
No, true. That is sort of always the funny thing with Rand, is he gets really good at the sword right at the point where he doesn't need it anymore.
Yeah. On his way to the stables, he sees a line of warders. Kind of like this little paragraph. Just inside the main gate, a line of men stood beside the horses, 16 of them. No two wore the same kind of armor or carried the same sort of sword, and none looked like Lan, but Rand did not doubt that they were warders. Round faces, square faces, long faces, narrow faces, they all had the look, as if they all saw things men did not see, heard things other men did not hear. Standing at their ease, they looked as deadly as a pack of wolves.
Right before that, he says, there can't be anything dangerous in just looking from a distance. I'll keep moving and be gone before she ever knows I was there. So he's talking about looking at the Amyrlin Seat.
Yeah.
Doesn't Suan see him? Doesn't she have the talent for seeing Taviran?
She does. And there's a spot here where her gaze passes over him. And she continues on with, she's like in the middle of a long ceremonial greeting. And she continues on, but we know that she would know.
Yeah, she sees him like a bright, glowing thing. Like he's got this huge
like
aura
blue
around him.
light. Yeah. Lan flinched when her gaze crossed him. He felt as if he had been touched, but her eyes passed on and came to rest on Lord Agelmar. And she speaks to them. Yeah, this chapter's like pretty much a long ceremonial greeting. And then Rand makes his way to the stables, sneaks off, and there's this guy, Tema, who's in charge of the horses. I don't know if you have anything in between there.
I just want to make note that the tall woman they keep referencing here is Leanne. She's the Watcher of the Seals at this point.
Oh, right. I'm spacing her title.
The Keeper.
Right. Rand gets to the stables.
Algamar says something about the pack being maintained. Welcome is the Amyrlin Seat to Faldara, for here the watch is kept, here the pack maintained. Welcome.
The pact.
The pact? Do you know what the pact is?
I forget what the exact words are, but that the Borderlanders stand guard and watch the blight.
Does the pact have anything to do with them slapping Rand later?
Slapping him?
Remember when they like confront him at the very end? That's why they came down.
When who confronts him?
All the Borderlanders. After he comes down off the mountain, and he like goes and
at the end of the series.
At the end of the series,
okay.
And he goes and way at the very end, and he goes to the Borderlanders, and they say, "Do you remember who killed such and such, some woman?" And it was like the only way he would have that memory is if he knew Lewis Theron's memories.
Gotcha.
And had full access to them. They have a pact where if he doesn't know the name, they have to try and kill him and prevent him from going to the last battle.
I only vaguely remember that scene, but I do remember where he kind of sways the Borderland leaders.
Yeah. So So I think I'm stretching here, but I think the pact is most likely just guarding the border, right?
Right, and the Amyrlin watches the seals.
Right.
I think that's part of the pact, even though she doesn't.
Oh, okay. So that makes sense. That she watches the seals and they watch the border.
Yeah.
That would make more sense than my off-the-wall theory.
I'm reading from Watwikia. Rand finally agrees to meet with all the Borderlander rulers in the city of Farmading. Ethanil Materasu takes the lead in negotiations and strikes Rand across the face. After being struck by the other three rulers, Petar Nachiman, these names are tough, asks Rand a question about Telendal Tiraso. The four rulers then agree that Rand is the Dragon Reborn and officially meet with him. Rand demands their oath of allegiance, so-and-so, because he wants them in the last battle.
And the reason that whole process was started is after Falma, Huron went back to the Borderlands and reported what happened. Lord Algamar alerted all the other rulers, and they all crossed down out of the Borderlands looking for Rand.
Right.
In order to confront him. So it's totally possible that the pact has something to do with that.
The rulers make a blood pact amongst themselves.
Right.
This pact is
to the
something
blood
between
pact.
It's something ancient between what they're talking about right now is something ancient between the White Tower and this blood pact is something that happens in
I just wonder because they're both
year.
called pacts, and Lord Algamar is part of both. So that's why I really want to put them together.
Gotcha.
I want them to be the same pact, even though I guess they're not. One's a blood pact among the rulers, and the other one is the pact to guard the borders between the White Tower and the Borderlanders. But yeah, I guess you're right. Algamar isn't part of the blood pact. It's just those four.
I don't even remember who's all there. I couldn't say if Agelmar's there or not.
No, so she met with the other I'm looking at Tenobia's Wikipedia page because she's the leader of the Blood Pact, and she met with the other Borderlander rulers, Ethanel Korasu, Noramanga, Petar Nachim, and Isar. So I guess maybe Algamar wasn't there. He just alerted the rulers. He's more of a lord.
I'm shrugging.
Okay, yeah,
I don't know.
Sorry, way off on tangent. So you said he goes and tries to get a horse and runs into Tima?
Right, to get oriented here. Oh, and I was just going to say that I thought it was funny that I'll read the dialogue. Spirit and heart to serve, my lord. How may Tema serve, my lord? For the 100th time, Tema, I am not a lord, as my lord wishes. I just wanted to note that this is the first time that happens in the series.
Well, he just put on the nice clothes. There's no way in the nice suit that he's not going to get a my lord. Especially now that the Amyrlin Seat is there for him, and everyone thinks the Amyrlin Seat is there for him.
Right. I guess not that they actually know, but everyone assumes so.
Right. Well, that comes back to his name, Althor.
Mm-hmm. The Al...
It means a king, basically.
Yeah.
That's why
like
Al-Lan, Mandragoran. He says in the Two Rivers it means son of, which means Rand's name is Rand, son of Thor.
Right.
Which it's a little on the nose.
And it was the Al prefix, I think, meant king also in Manetheren. We see that like in the ancient history.
Which would make sense that Tam is a direct descendant of
Althor, Alcar, I think is another one.
So yeah, the next thing I have is him just saying the order just came down. So the order comes down basically the second the Aes Sedai get into the town.
That no horses are to leave. So Rand finds out that he can't leave by horse.
And he's wondering who could have possibly given that command.
Temma assumes it's Lord Agelmar, but I think it turns out not being Agelmar. If Temma may be bold, the groom called above reverberations. I'm doing the last paragraph. I don't know if
Go for it. That's all I got.
My lord must be very happy. Rand had to shout back to be heard. Happy? Why? The welcome is finished, my lord. Temma's gesture took in the bell tower. The Amyrlin Seat will be sending for my lord, and my lord's friends, to come to her. Now. Rand broke into a run. He just had time to see the surprise on Temma's face, and then he was gone. He did not care what Temma thought. She will be sending for me now.
Yeah, so that was a weird chapter. There's a lot of clothes in that chapter. A formal greeting.
Tack on a little bit to
Yeah.
the other one.
There were like whole pages that I didn't really have a lot to say about in that one.
Me neither.
Yeah. All right. Well, that happens sometimes. Not every chapter is a winner for us. But that was an important connecting point. It lets us know that he can't leave, that the Amyrlin Seat is there. That's really all that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that he has a bag ready to go, but of course he ends up not leaving.
No.
It's chapter 3 where Lan coaches Rand for a second.
Oh, with the
He's like,
cat.
when you meet her, do all this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Cat crosses the courtyard.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think that's his chapter. It's got Fane's dagger, so I assume it's we'll see Fane in this one.
I always remember the rush I got out of reading it the first time that I read it. Because you don't know what's going to happen.
No, and it's such a perfect, arrogant stance.
And I was like sure that something, he was going to be captured or something.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, chapter 2, good setup for chapter 3.
It's also going to be interesting to know that Suan knows he's the Dragon Reborn while reading through this,
That was a nice quick break where we sat around and talked about the Wheel of Time.
More or less.
Basically. But we did it outside as opposed to in the basement, so that's nice. A little bit of fresh, crisp, cool air out there.
Yeah, it's just good to stand up.
I'm surprised how not hard it is, but it does take some physical endurance to sit here and talk for a while.
Oh, totally.
It's like it can be mentally challenging. Every once in a while, it's nice to just walk away for a second.
Yeah, we were talking about that a little last time we were together. Just that after about 3 hours, we tend not to be able to come up with any kind of listenable content.
Right.
For some reason, there's just like a mental limit.
I feel like there's a window because right when we first start, we're always a little rough. And then towards the end of 3 hours, we start to fade.
Yeah.
From half an hour to 2.5 hours, there's a solid 2 hours of quality content we can produce. But beyond that, it's tough. It's tough. Oh, I'm watching you hold up the cover of The Great Hunt. I just realized that's supposed to be Selene, isn't it?
Yes.
I always thought that was Egwene. But now looking at it, actually looking at it while you're holding it up, that's definitely Selene, a.k.a. Lanfear.
This is Rand holding the horn. Is this...
I think that's in a portal world, or next to the portal stone, because she makes him pull it out, and she's like, look at it, I want you just to hold it. I don't think he actually does in the book. So I think it's
tempt him with glory.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. This series of book art is terrible. I've seen so many people on the internet. I've literally never seen anyone be like, well, I like it. Not even that.
I mean, I'm nostalgic for it.
Okay, but I mean, that's fair.
That they are the cover of these books back when I first started reading them. And that's how I remember the books looking.
Loyal's just like a human with pointy ears. No.
The Trollocs with the helms instead of
Yeah.
Yeah. So super tons of nostalgia. I mean, I've been looking at that cover for 20 years, I still don't think it's good art. Nor is it particularly accurate to the story.
Nah.
Right.
There's some good ones, modern covers.
I really like the ebook covers.
Yeah.
I think they're really well done.
Thank you for listening to the Wheel of Time Spoilers podcast. Rate us in the Apple Podcast app or support us on Patreon. Is that good enough?